To tell you the truth, analyzing the Clair Obscur Expedition 33 soundtrack has been a daunting proposition. It's so big, first of all, but also so good. I mean, it's fine to have a 150 track score if there's going to be one standout piece that's the obvious choice to analyze, but when all of the game's music is at such a high level, it's easy to fall into analysis paralysis. To make matters worse, all of Clair Obscur's music is rich with meaning. There are several motifs that get woven into so many different pieces throughout the soundtrack, each with their own hidden meanings and implications, and the deeper I dig into the music, the deeper that rabbit hole goes. But after my time spent digging, I found one theme that I think exemplifies the game's approach to layering meaning into different scenes using the music. I should warn you, if you somehow haven't been spoiled on the plot of the game yet, you really should go play Clair Obscur before watching this video. I personally don't think spoilers are that big a deal generally, like I don't think they detract from the experience of a game as much as people say they do, but in this particular case, going in blind is 100% the best way to play, and it will change your experience a lot to have the game spoiled. It's really a work of art and a phenomenal achievement, so if you, for some reason, haven't yet, go finish the game, then come back and watch the video. Okay, now that the fake fans are gone, let's launch this expedition! Composer Lorien Testard cited Zelda soundtracks as an influence on his writing, specifically for the way they reuse musical themes across a game for emotional impact. He obviously nailed this aspect of the game for Clair Obscur. Testard's themes show up again and again throughout the game, and they have an impact every time they do, thanks to how memorable and evocative they are. This kind of thematic writing feels rare in the modern AAA gaming world, and I think his success comes from the fact that pretty much all of the key themes in the game were written as songs first. When you're writing music specifically for strings or brass or whatever, the things that sound good on each instrument that are the easiest to write are usually more like effects than melodies. Cellos sound great playing long-held notes that crescendo and decrescendo dramatically, for example. Brass sounds good playing big, loud, low stabs, and I'm sure you've heard plenty of both of these in various soundtracks, but writing a song requires a completely different approach. A melody in a song has to have a dramatic arc, a structure that's coherent and interesting. It has to be memorable and emotional, but within a range and with enough space in it that it's singable. For example, the theme for the character Alicia, which is sort of the main theme of the game, is written as a song, an emotional and bittersweet melody performed beautifully by the game's vocalist Alice Duport-Percier. Writing it as a song first means that even when the game calls for this theme to be played by somber strings or a music box or whatever else, the music maintains this beautiful melodicism. Even in an instrumental form, the music feels so lyrical because it was written to be a song. It's the same with the theme for Lumiere, which I picked apart a little bit already in a YouTube short back when the game came out. The theme was written as a song, a very catchy song, I might add, and even though it shows up all over the soundtrack and other pieces in instrumental forms, it never loses that memorable melodic quality. Clair obscur, dans des hauts peintures trouveras sans elle. One other theme that isn't as easy to find as these first two, but ends up being involved in very important moments in the game, is called Continuer à t'aimer. You hear it first in instrumental form in the game, but the piece's song-like qualities are immediately apparent. You'll hear it right before the first boss fight against Renoir, when Maëlle comes to the manor and sees the paintress and Alicia inside, though Alicia is at this point still just a mysterious masked figure. As the door closes, signaling the failure of Verso's plan to ambush the paintress, the music ends. The piece is performed by piano and 2 violins, the lower one stating the melody and the top one dancing around it, and then the 2 switching roles, and the higher line taking the melody and the lower line decorating. This twin melody idea is going to end up being very important to this theme in particular. From just this instance, the theme seems to be associated with the character Alicia, but Alicia already very explicitly has a theme, which we've heard a few times already at this point in the game. This new theme sounds serious, sounds like it's filled with yearning, but it's not clear exactly what it means just yet. When you start the battle with Renoir, the music starts with an aggressive drop, with big sweeping violin arpeggios layered on top of an off-kilter groove in 3/4 time. The music pivots from this 3/4 time feel to a swaying 6/8 rhythm. The early chords, this E minor to F sharp half diminished loop, felt very dark and aggressive, but the new 6/8 chord loop of E minor to C to D to E minor feels a lot more heroic. Violin and cello carry the melody over top of the rock rhythm section. Now, this pivot to 6/8 sets up the theme that we're focusing in on, Continue à t'aimer, which we previously heard back in the manor with Alicia. This time it comes into the swaying rock 6/8 feel, the violin and cello playing the theme in octaves while other strings come in to harmonize that melody. This same 6/8 string treatment of the theme comes back over the victory screen once Renoir is defeated, but without the aggressive rhythm section backing. So from this battle, the theme now seems to be more associated with Renoir, but there is more to it than that. It's just that the context is, at this point in the story, still a mystery. The next time you fight Renoir, you're treated to one of the highlights of the soundtrack, some real JRPG boss music for the 21st century. The track is called Une Vie à t'aimer, or in English, A Life to Love You. Before the fight, Renoir tries to convince Verso to abandon the expeditioners and rejoin Renoir and their family, but Verso refuses. After his refusal, a cello-led version of the Continue à t'aimer theme plays as Renoir drops the line,
"If saving you means losing you, then so be it."
This version of the theme is played by solo cello with acoustic guitar backing, giving a more melancholic, emotional weight to the theme than what we've heard so far. As the battle begins, this theme explodes into the same swaying 6/8 rock boss music that we heard the first time we fought Renoir, only this time with the addition of vocalists. The melody is always sung by 2 singers in harmony, but trades between 2 female voices and 2 male voices. The back and forth between the female and male singers represents the battle Renoir is in against his wife, Aline. The player doesn't know it at this point in the game yet, but you've been caught in the middle of this conflict the two are having inside the world of a painting, and that's also the reason why we have two of each vocalist singing each part, to represent the dual world that the game takes place in. We have two Renoirs, the painted Renoir and the real Renoir, two Alines, two Alicias, only one Verso, obviously. But I digress. The argument between mother and father unfolding inside the painting is portrayed with two of the same voice on each side, shouting melodies at each other. Again, none of this is known to the player when the battle takes place. We're engulfed in a conflict that we don't understand, just like our characters, and it's only after defeating the paintress that the meaning behind these details becomes unveiled. But when these details are unveiled, it seems so obvious in retrospect. Just like in our first Renoir battle, this 6/8 section flows into a 6/8 version of our Continue a Theme theme, but this time we have vocalists taking the melody. The male and female voices come together to sing this theme in harmony, first with the female taking the top line and the male on the bottom, and then the two flipping their harmonies for the second line. Now, there's a whole other aspect to analyze with the music in this game, which is the lyrics. The lyrics here are in French, but translate to paint love, to paint life, to cry in color, on the canvas our love stays. But the second time, when the male voice jumps up to take the lead, insane range on this guy by the way, the lyrics change subtly from amour de mieux to amour se meurt, meaning on the canvas our love dies. The game is literally telling you what this is all actually about. Aline's love of her family is what's driving her to stay in the canvas, while Renoir's same love of family is driving him to destroy it. The lyrics are giving you clues to the fact that Renoir is not really a villain at all, just a man who wants what's best for his family. That's right, I'm pro Renoir, deal with it. If you played through to the end of the game and thought this guy was anything other than a good husband and a loving father, then we got beef. The battle between Renoir and Aline is represented musically all over the place, and once you start to see it, you can't unsee it. The music breaks into a shredding guitar and violin solo battle, then moves into the line Alicia au Clair Obscur, Verso au Clair Obscur, and then moves into a literal screaming match between the male and female singers. Now, the term Clair Obscur is a reference to a painting technique that emphasizes contrast between light and dark colors, which does fit nicely with the hidden theme of the game being the world existing inside a painting. There are loads of subtle nods to this fact throughout the game that you'll miss until getting to the big twist. But Clair Obscur translates literally to light dark, and I have to credit Redditor ExcellentStop5071 for tying this title to the idea of twilight, of the point where the material world, the world of light, and the spirit world, or the world of the dark, come into contact. This lyric, Alicia and Verso au Clair Obscur, or in the Clair Obscur, explicitly tells us what we'll eventually find out. Alicia and Verso are both trapped in this world in between life and death. Verso is unable to fully die, as he exists as only a shadow inside the painting, and Alicia is unable to fully live, as she can't let this shadow of her brother go. After the screaming match, the version of Continue a Theme that played in the intro before the battle comes back, with the cello melody replaced with a new melody based on the same chords. Again, we have a back and forth between Aline and Renoir, represented by the twin female and male voices trading lines. The lyrics here translate to, "Cease loving me, I will always love you, let go of this paintbrush, leave this canvas," and then the male voices end the line with Aline, while the female voices end with Renoir. Their argument is playing out very explicitly in real time as we face off against this boss fight. Renoir and Aline are both trying to knock each other out of the canvas, one to begin the process of healing,
Good guy alert! Good guy alert!
and one to be allowed to wallow in her misery. When the battle ends, the victory screen music plays this theme once more in a much more somber form. The female and male voices sing in octaves, accompanied by a cello, only this time the line ends with the word adieu rather than je t'aime. This phrase is still powerful even without understanding the French lyrics. The defeated performance of the line is enough to convey both singers' change from I love you to goodbye.
Tendre l'amour, tendre la vie, pleurer en couleur. Sur la toile, notre vie s'écrit adieu.
With this boss theme, I think it's clear that this melody, the Continue à t'aimer theme, symbolizes not any one character, but the family conflict itself. It captures the desperation of these two characters, the war they're waging on each other even while still loving each other deeply. Of course, it's featured in Renoir's boss themes, as we've noted, and accompanies the failed attempt to defeat the Paintress and end this battle at the manor, but actually this theme was foreshadowed at an important moment earlier in the game, long before we got to fight Renoir. A moment when the impact that this family conflict was having on the denizens of the painted world was indelibly carved into the minds of each player, even though we didn't yet understand why. Of course, I'm talking about Gustave's death. When Gustave gets impaled by Renoir, the same theme appears, played simply and mournfully on piano. There is one big difference between this version and the future versions of the Continue à t'aimer theme. Every other iteration of the theme ends on the 5 chord of the minor key, a dramatic and dark sound that contributes to the theme's somber and restless quality. The extra bars at the end of the phrase, hanging on that unresolved 5 chord, embody the frustration that the characters are feeling about this argument, capturing the unresolved tension of a family squabble. But the version of the theme that plays during Gustave's death doesn't do that. At the end of the phrase, where we would normally get a C sharp half diminished to F sharp 7 that sets up a resolution to our tonic B minor, we instead see the harmony color these last 2 notes with a D sus4 that resolves to D major. D is the relative major to the home key of B minor, meaning the 2 keys share all of the same notes. So we start in B minor, but with this A leaping up to a D, the tone suddenly shifts from minor to major, and this sus4 to 3 resolution, paired with the look on Gustave's face as he looks back at Maëlle, projects a strange comfort. It projects hope. The music suddenly places us inside the mind of a dying Gustave, thinking only of protecting Maëlle and trying his best to put her at ease. I've been calling this theme the Continue à t'aimer theme, which is what it's called on the game's soundtrack in its standalone form, not as part of a larger theme, which does happen a lot. The name translates to continue loving you. This title changes meaning depending on the context of where this theme appears. Renoir will continue to love his wife and his remaining family and continue trying to do what's best for them, even if his methodology is not exactly popular. He won't give up on Aline. Aline will continue to love Verso and won't let herself let go of his memory by letting Renoir destroy his painted world. She can't bring herself to give up on her son. And Gustave will continue to love Maëlle even in death. He won't give up on protecting her, willing to make the ultimate sacrifice for those who come after. There is a lot in this game to unpack, and there are some cool details that I couldn't fit into the scope of this video, so if you're interested, you can find a bonus bit video where I talk about some of that stuff over on my Patreon. All supporters get access to those, and $5 a video and up supporters will also get access to my sheet music transcriptions of all these themes that I made for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.